Imagine, if you will, that life is not a straight path but a vast flowing river. You are not separate from this river, you are the river itself. And as you move through the twists and turns, the rapids and the calm waters, you may begin to notice something extraordinary. Every bend, every obstacle, every moment of stillness is not random, it is purposeful. It is divine. And if you look closely, you will see that there are signs, subtle yet unmistakable, that God, the universe, or whatever you choose to call it, is preparing you to receive blessings beyond your wildest dreams. Imagine, if you will, that life is not a straight path, but a vast flowing river. You are not separate from this river, you are the river itself. And as you move through the twists and turns, the rapids and the calm waters, you may begin to notice something extraordinary. Every bend, every obstacle, every moment of stillness is not random. It is purposeful. It is divine. And if you look closely, you will see that there are signs, subtle yet unmistakable, that God, the universe, or whatever you choose to call it, is preparing you to receive blessings beyond your wildest dreams. You may feel at times as though life is pushing against you. The job you wanted slips through your fingers. The relationship you cherished comes to an end. The plans you meticulously crafted fall apart, and you ask, why? Why is this happening to me? But what if I told you that this struggle is not a punishment, but a preparation? The universe is not against you, it is for you. It is breaking down the old to make way for the new. It is clearing the debris so that something far more magnificent can take root. The struggle, then, is not your enemy, it is your ally. Think of a seed buried deep within the earth. It does not sprout overnight. It must first endure the darkness, the pressure, the weight of the soil above it. And yet, it is precisely this struggle that allows it to grow, to break through the surface and to reach for the sun. In the same way, your struggles are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to strengthen you, to prepare you, to transform you into the person you need to be to receive the blessings that await you. There comes a moment when you realize that you cannot force life to bend to your will. You cannot make the river flow faster or slower. You can only flow with it. And in that moment of surrender, something miraculous happens. You stop resisting, you stop clinging, you let go. And in that letting go, you find peace. You find trust. You find alignment with the divine timing of the universe. Surrender is not giving up, it is opening up. It is saying, I do not know the way, but I trust that the way knows me. Imagine a leaf floating on the surface of a stream. It does not fight the current, it does not try to steer itself. It simply allows the water to carry it where it needs to go. And in that surrender, it finds its purpose. It becomes part of the flow. In the same way, when you surrender to the flow of life, you become part of something greater than yourself. You become part of the divine plan. And in that surrender, you find freedom. You find peace. You find the blessings that have been waiting for you all along. When everything around you seems to be falling apart, it is easy to believe that life has lost its meaning. But chaos is not the absence of order. It is the presence of a deeper order. Think of a forest fire. To the untrained eye, it is destruction. But to the forest, it is renewal. The old is burned away so that the new can grow. In the same way, the chaos in your life is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the universe clearing space for something greater to emerge. Imagine a potter at the wheel. The clay is shapeless, formless, chaotic, and yet in the hands of the potter it becomes something beautiful. It becomes a vessel, a work of art, a thing of purpose. In the same way, the chaos in your life is not meaningless. It is the raw material from which something beautiful will be created. It is the universe shaping you, molding you, preparing you for the blessings that are to come. We live in a world that values speed. We want everything now. Success, love, happiness. But blessings do not operate on our timeline. They come when we are ready, not when we are impatient. Patience, then, is not passive waiting. It is active trust. It is the understanding that the seeds you have planted will grow in their own time. You cannot rush the sunrise, nor can you rush the blessings that are meant for you. Trust the timing, trust the process. Trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in the soil. He does not dig them up every day to check if they have grown. He waters them, he tends to them, but he trusts that in time they will sprout. In the same way, you must trust that the seeds you have planted, the dreams, the goals, the prayers, will grow in their own time. You cannot force them to grow faster, but you can trust that they will grow, and when they do, they will bear fruit beyond your wildest imagination. Every experience you have, every person you meet, every challenge you face is part of a larger tapestry. Nothing is wasted, nothing is meaningless. The job you lost taught you resilience. The relationship that ended taught you self-love. The plans that fell apart taught you flexibility. Each experience is a thread in the grand design of your life. And when you step back and see the bigger picture, you will realize that every thread has its place. Every thread is necessary. Every thread is leading you to the blessings that await you. Imagine a tapestry being woven. From the front, it is a beautiful, intricate design, but from the back, it is a mess of tangled threads. In the same way, your life may seem messy, chaotic, and confusing at times, but when you step back and see the bigger picture, you will realize that every thread, every experience, every challenge is part of a beautiful design. And when the tapestry is complete, you will see that every thread was necessary. Every thread was leading you to the blessings that were meant for you all along. There comes a moment when you realize that you cannot force life to bend to your will. You cannot make the river flow faster or slower. You can only flow with it. And in that moment of surrender, something miraculous happens. You stop resisting, you stop clinging, you let go. And in that letting go, you find peace, you find trust. You find alignment with the divine timing of the universe. Surrender is not giving up. It is opening up. It is saying, I do not know the way, but I trust that the way knows me. Imagine a leaf floating on the surface of a stream. It does not fight the current. It does not try to steer itself. It simply allows the water to carry it where it needs to go. And in that surrender, it finds its purpose. It becomes part of the flow. In the same way, when you surrender to the flow of life, you become part of something greater than yourself. You become part of the divine plan, and in that surrender you find freedom. You find peace, you find the blessings that have been waiting for you all along. Surrender is not a passive act, it is an active choice. It is a decision to release your grip on the things you cannot control, and to trust that the universe has a plan for you. It is a recognition that you are not the author of your story, but a character in a much larger narrative. And in that recognition, there is freedom. There is peace. There is the understanding that you do not have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You do not have to have all the answers. You do not have to know the way. You only have to trust that the way knows you. And in that trust, you will find the strength to keep going, even when the path is unclear. You will find the courage to take the next step, even when you cannot see the destination. You will find the faith to believe that everything is happening exactly as it should, even when it does not feel like it. Surrender is not a one-time event, it is a daily practice. It is a choice you make every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to sleep. It is a reminder that you are not in control, and that is okay. It is a reminder that you are not alone, and that the universe is conspiring in your favor. It is a reminder that you are exactly where you need to be, even when it does not feel like it. And in that reminder, there is peace, there is trust, there is the understanding that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. When you surrender, you open yourself up to the possibility of miracles. You open yourself up to the possibility that the universe has something far greater in store for you than you could ever imagine. You open yourself up to the possibility that the struggles you are facing are not the end of the story, but the beginning of a new chapter. And in that possibility there is hope, there is joy, there is the understanding that the best is yet to come. Surrender is not easy. It requires courage, it requires faith, it requires a willingness to let go of the things you cannot control and to trust that the universe has a plan for you. But when you surrender, you will find that the weight of the world is lifted from your shoulders. You will find that the path before you becomes clear. You will find that the blessings you have been waiting for are already on their way, and in that surrender you will find peace, you will find joy, you will find the understanding that everything is happening exactly as it should. So, my friend, as you move through this river of life, remember this: you are not alone, you are not lost, you are exactly where you need to be. The struggles, the chaos, the waiting, they are all part of the divine. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that the blessings are coming. And when they arrive, you will look back and see that every twist, every turn, every moment of stillness was leading you to this, to the blessings, to the joy, to the life you were always meant to live. When everything around you seems to be falling apart, it is easy to believe that life has lost its meaning. But chaos is not the absence of order. It is the presence of a deeper order. Think of a forest fire. To the untrained eye, it is destruction, but to the forest, it is renewal. The old is burned away so that the new can grow. In the same way, the chaos in your life is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the universe clearing space for something greater to emerge. Imagine a potter at the wheel. The clay is shapeless, formless, chaotic, and yet in the hands of the potter it becomes something beautiful. It becomes a vessel, a work of art, a thing of purpose. In the same way, the chaos in your life is not meaningless. It is the raw material from which something beautiful will be created. It is the universe shaping you, molding you, preparing you for the blessings that are to come. Chaos often feels like the opposite of control, and in many ways it is. But control, as we often understand it, is an illusion. We like to believe that we can plan our lives down to the smallest detail, that we can predict the outcomes of our actions, that we can steer the ship of our destiny with precision. But life is not a ship, and we are not its captains. Life is a river, and we are its currents. We can fight against the flow, or we can surrender to it. We can resist the chaos, or we can embrace it. And when we embrace it, we begin to see that chaos is not the enemy of order, it is its precursor. It is the necessary disruption that precedes creation. It is the storm that clears the air, the fire that purifies the land, the upheaval that makes way for transformation. Consider the caterpillar in its cocoon. To an outside observer, it might seem as though nothing is happening. The caterpillar has disappeared, and in its place is a seemingly lifeless shell. But inside that shell, a miracle is taking place. The caterpillar is not dying, it is transforming. It is breaking down its old form so that it can emerge as something new, something beautiful, something capable of flight. In the same way, the chaos in your life is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a new chapter. It is the process of breaking down the old so that the new can emerge. It is the universe preparing you for the blessings that are on their way. Chaos often feels uncomfortable because it forces us to confront the unknown. It pushes us out of our comfort zones and into the realm of uncertainty. But it is in the unknown that growth happens. It is in the uncertainty that we discover our strength, our resilience, our capacity for change. Think of a seed buried in the soil. It does not know what lies above the surface. It does not know if it will find sunlight or rain, if it will grow into a towering tree or a delicate flower. And yet it pushes upward anyway. It trusts in the process of growth, even though it cannot see the outcome. In the same way, you must trust in the process of your own growth. You must trust that the chaos you are experiencing is not the end, but the beginning. You must trust that the universe is preparing you for something greater, even if you cannot see it yet. Chaos also teaches us the value of impermanence. Nothing in life is permanent, not the good times, not the bad times, not the chaos, not the calm. Everything is in a constant state of flux. and it is this flux that gives life its richness and depth. Without chaos, there would be no growth. Without disruption, there would be no transformation. Without uncertainty, there would be no discovery. Chaos reminds us that life is not a static thing, but a dynamic process. It is a dance of creation and destruction, of beginnings and endings, of order and disorder. And in this dance we find our purpose, we find our meaning, we find our place in the grand design of the universe. So when you find yourself in the midst of chaos, do not despair, do not resist, do not try to force order where there is none. Instead, embrace the chaos. Trust in the process. Know that the universe is not working against you, but for you. Know that the chaos you are experiencing is not the end, but the beginning. Know that the blessings you seek are already on their way, and that the chaos is simply preparing you to receive them. And when the chaos subsides, as it always does, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more ready than ever to embrace the blessings that await you. You will see that the chaos was not a punishment, but a gift. It was the universe's way of preparing you for the life you were always meant to live. We live in a world that values speed. We want everything now: success, love, happiness. But blessings do not operate on our timeline. They come when we are ready, not when we are impatient. Patience, then, is not passive waiting. It is active trust. It is the understanding that the seeds you have planted will grow in their own time. You cannot rush the sunrise, nor can you rush the blessings that are meant for you. Trust the timing, trust the process, trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in the soil. He does not dig them up every day to check if they have grown. He waters them, he tends to them, but he trusts that in time they will sprout. In the same way, you must trust that the seeds you have planted, the dreams, the goals, the prayers, will grow in their own time. You cannot force them to grow faster, but you can trust that they will grow. And when they do, they will bear fruit beyond your wildest imagination. Patience is not a passive state. It is an active practice. It is the art of waiting with intention, of trusting with purpose, of believing with conviction. It is the understanding that everything in life has its own rhythm, its own timing, its own season. Just as the seasons change, so too do the cycles of our lives. There is a time for planting, a time for growing, a time for harvesting, and a time for resting. And each season has its own purpose, its own beauty, its own lessons. When we try to rush through the seasons, we miss the gifts that each one has to offer. We miss the quiet beauty of winter, the vibrant energy of spring, the abundance of summer, and the reflection of autumn. In the same way, when we try to rush through the seasons of our lives, we miss the lessons, the growth, the blessings that each season has to offer. Patience, then, is the art of embracing each season for what it is, of trusting that each season has its own purpose, and of knowing that the blessings we seek will come in their own time. Patience also teaches us the value of presence. But when we are impatient, we are often focused on the future, on what we want, on what we are waiting for, on what we hope will happen. But the future is not where life happens. Life happens in the present moment. It happens in the here and now. When we are patient, we are able to fully inhabit the present moment. We are able to appreciate the beauty of what is, rather than constantly striving for what could be. We're able to find joy in the journey, rather than fixating on the destination. And in that presence, we find peace. We find contentment. We find the understanding that the present moment is all we truly have, and that it is enough. Patience also requires faith. It requires a belief in something greater than ourselves, a trust that the universe has a plan for us, and a willingness to surrender to that plan. It requires the understanding that we are not in control, and that is okay. It requires the recognition that the universe is infinitely wiser than we are, and that it knows what is best for us, even when we do not. When we are patient, we are able to let go of our need to control, to manipulate, to force outcomes. We are able to trust that the universe is working in our favor, even when we cannot see it, and in that trust we find freedom, we find peace, we find the understanding that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Patience is not always easy. It requires discipline, practice, and a willingness to let go of our need for instant gratification. It requires us to sit with discomfort, to embrace uncertainty, to trust in the unknown. But when we are patient, we are able to see the bigger picture. We are able to understand that the struggles we are facing, the challenges we are enduring, the waiting we are doing, they are all part of a larger plan. They are all part of the process of becoming who we are meant to be. And when we are patient, we are able to see that the blessings we seek are not just about the destination, but about the journey. They are not just about the end result, but about the growth, the learning, the transformation that happens along the way. So, my friend, as you move through this river of life, remember this: you are not alone. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be. The struggles, the chaos, the waiting, they are all part of the divine preparation. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that the blessings are coming. And when they arrive, you will look back and see that every twist, every turn, every moment of stillness was leading you to this. To the blessings, to the joy, to the life you were always meant to live. Every experience you have, every person you meet, every challenge you face is part of a larger tapestry. Nothing is wasted, nothing is meaningless. The job you lost taught you resilience. The relationship that ended taught you self-love. The plans that fell apart taught you flexibility. Each experience is a thread in the grand design of your life. And when you step back and see the bigger picture, you will realize that every thread has its place. Every thread is necessary. Every thread is leading you to the blessings that await you. Imagine a tapestry being woven. From the front, it is a beautiful, intricate design, but from the back, it is a mess of tangled threads. In the same way, your life may seem messy, chaotic, and confusing at times, but when you step back and see the bigger picture, you will realize that every thread, every experience, every challenge is part of a beautiful design. And when the tapestry is complete, you will see that every thread was necessary. Every thread was leading you to the blessings that were meant for you all along. Life is not a series of random events. It is a carefully orchestrated symphony. Every note, every pause, every crescendo has its place. And just as a symphony would be incomplete without every note, so too would your life be incomplete without every experience. The highs and the lows, the joys and the sorrows, the triumphs and the failures, they are all part of the music. They are all part of the story. And when you listen closely, you will hear the melody. You will hear the harmony. You will hear the divine rhythm that underlies it all. And in that rhythm, you will find meaning. You will find purpose. You will find the understanding that everything is connected and that every experience is a gift. Think of a tree. Its roots grow deep into the earth, drawing nourishment from the soil. Its branches reach high into the sky, soaking up the sunlight, and its leaves fall to the ground, decomposing and enriching the soil for future growth. In the same way, every experience you have enriches the soil of your soul. Every challenge you face strengthens your roots. Every joy you experience lifts your branches, and every loss you endure nourishes the ground for future growth. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Everything is part of the cycle of life, and everything contributes to your growth. The people you meet are also part of this tapestry. Some come into your life for a season, others for a lifetime. Some bring joy, others bring lessons, but every person has a role to play. Every person is a thread in the fabric of your life. And when you look back, you will see that every relationship, every encounter, every connection was necessary. They taught you something, they shaped you in some way, they helped you become the person you are today. Even the people who hurt you, who challenged you, who pushed you to your limits, they were part of the design, they were part of the process, and in their own way they were a blessing. The challenges you face are also part of the tapestry. They may seem like obstacles, but they are actually opportunities. They are opportunities to grow, to learn, to become stronger. They are opportunities to discover your resilience, your courage, your capacity for change. Think of a diamond. It is formed under immense pressure deep within the earth, and yet it is that pressure that gives it its brilliance, its clarity, its beauty. In the same way, the challenges you face are not meant to break you. They are meant to shape you. They are meant to bring out your inner strength, your inner light, your inner beauty. And when you emerge from those challenges, you will be stronger, wiser, and more radiant than ever before. The tapestry of your life is still being woven. You cannot see the full picture yet, but you can trust that it is beautiful. You can trust that every thread, every color, every stitch has its place. And when the tapestry is complete, you will see that every experience, every person, every challenge was necessary. You will see that everything was leading you to this moment, to this place, to this understanding. You will see that the blessings you have been waiting for were not just about the destination, but about the journey. They were not just about the end result, but about the growth, the learning, the transformation that happened along the way. So, my friend, as you move through this river of life, remember this. You are not alone. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be. The struggles, the chaos, the waiting, they are all part of the divine prep. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust that the blessings are coming, and when they arrive you will look back and see that every twist, every turn, every moment of stillness was leading you to this, to the blessings, to the joy, to the life you were always meant to live. We often believe that holding on is a sign of strength, but sometimes the real strength lies in letting go. Life has a way of whispering to us, nudging us toward a higher path, yet we resist. We grip tightly to people who were never meant to stay, mistaking attachment for love and persistence for faith. But what if the resistance you feel isn't an obstacle to overcome, but a divine redirection? What if God is not punishing you, but protecting you? There are moments when the universe speaks, not in thunderous commands, but in subtle signs. And if we listen closely, we begin to understand. Some people are not meant to walk with us forever. So how do we know when God is telling us to let go? Here are 7 signs that it may be time to release, trust, and step into the unknown. Here's an expanded version of the first keynote in a speech-like format. We live under the illusion that holding on is love, that if we grip something tightly enough, it will remain ours. But love is not possession, and faith is not force. Have you ever noticed how a river never clings to the stones it passes? It moves, flowing freely, trusting the path carved by something greater. And yet, we humans grasp, we hold, we attach. Not because we love, but because we fear of loss, fear of change, fear of stepping into the unknown. But there is a deep wisdom in learning when to let go. Imagine holding onto a rope. At first it feels secure, familiar. But what happens when that rope begins to burn your hands? Do you grip harder, hoping the pain will turn into comfort? Or do you release it, trusting that relief, that freedom, is found not in the holding, but in the letting go? This is what happens when we refuse to let go of someone God is asking us to release. We cling despite the pain, despite the clear signs that this person is no longer meant to walk beside us. And why? Because we mistake attachment for love, but true love liberates. It does not chain, it does not suffocate, it does not demand suffering as proof of its existence. If holding on to someone feels like gripping a rope that burns, ask yourself, is this love or is this fear? And if it is fear, then what are you truly afraid of? Perhaps it is the fear of loneliness, the uncertainty of what lies beyond this person. But loneliness is not found in the absence of someone, it is found in the presence of the wrong person. There is a peculiar kind of emptiness in holding on to someone who has already let go of you, a hollow echo where love once lived. God does not ask us to live in that emptiness. He does not ask us to suffer in a space where love no longer resides. We think that love is proven by endurance, that if we fight long enough, if we sacrifice enough, we will be rewarded with what we desire. But love is not a war to be won. It is not a battle of persistence. Love, real love, flows like a river. It moves effortlessly, without resistance, without force. If you have to constantly fight for someone to see you, to choose you, to love you the way you deserve, then perhaps God is showing you that this is not love, it is attachment. Attachment, when misdirected, is just another form of suffering. So what does it mean to release? It does not mean you stop caring, nor does it mean that what you shared was not real. It simply means that you recognize when love has completed its purpose. Some people come into our lives not to stay, but to teach, to awaken, to shape us in ways we never expected. But just because someone was part of your story does not mean they are meant to be part of your future. Letting go is an act of faith. It is trusting that God does not take without reason, that every ending carries within it the seed of a new beginning. We fear that if we let go, we will be left with nothing. But what if letting go is the very thing that makes space for something greater? What if the tight grip you have on this person is blocking the blessings meant to flow into your life? And so the real question is not, should I let go, but rather, what am I holding on to and why? If the only answer you can find is fear, then perhaps it is time to trust. To trust that God does not lead you into emptiness, but into fulfillment. To trust that the pain of release is temporary, but the freedom it brings is eternal. To trust that the moment you loosen your grip, you are not losing love. You are setting yourself free to find it. Life has a way of showing us when something is no longer meant for us. But often we resist, trying to force what was never meant to be. We tell ourselves that if we just try a little harder, pray a little longer, or hold on just a little more, things will change. Yet what if the resistance we face is not an obstacle to overcome, but a sign from God that we are moving in the wrong direction? Have you ever noticed how certain doors refuse to open no matter how much effort you put in? You knock, you push, you wait, but nothing happens, and still you stand there convinced that if you wait long enough, if you prove your loyalty, that door will finally open. But what if it was never meant to? What if God is not keeping you from something good, but guiding you towards something better? We struggle with this because we often believe that letting go is failure, that if we surrender, we are somehow giving up on love, on faith, on the possibility of things getting better. But what if surrender is not defeat, but wisdom? What if God is closing this door not to hurt you, but to protect you? Sometimes the clearest sign that you are holding on to the wrong person is the way life continuously blocks your path forward. Maybe every time you try to build something with them, it crumbles. No matter how much love you give, how much patience you pour into them, it never seems to be enough. Conversations turn into arguments, efforts go unnoticed, and what once felt easy now feels exhausting. It is as if the universe itself is whispering, "This is not where you belong." But instead of listening, we hold on tighter, believing that persistence will change the inevitable. We mistake obstacles for tests of faith. We convince ourselves that love is about enduring struggle, that if we just push through, if we just prove ourselves worthy, things will finally work out. But God does not need you to suffer to prove your worth. He does not require you to exhaust yourself for a love that is not meant to stay. When something is right, it flows. Yes, there may be challenges, but love does not need to be forced. If every attempt to move forward feels like walking through quicksand, then perhaps the resistance is not meant to be fought against, but acknowledged. Think of a traveler lost in the forest. He comes upon a path covered in thorns, blocked by fallen trees, and yet he insists on pushing through, cutting himself on every step, convinced that this must be the way. But what if he simply turned around? What if, just beyond his line of sight, there was a clear path waiting for him? The only thing stopping him from finding it is his refusal to stop forcing the wrong way. This is how life often works. God does not only speak through miracles and revelations, He speaks through resistance. He allows certain things to fall apart, certain relationships to become difficult, not because He wants to see you struggle, but because He wants you to wake up. The hardest part of faith is trusting that the closed door is just as much a blessing as the open one. That the silence, the rejection, the unanswered prayers are not punishments, but divine redirections. You may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and realize that the very thing you were trying so hard to hold on to was the very thing standing in the way of your peace, your growth, and your destiny. And so the question is not whether God is blocking you, but whether you are willing to listen. Whether you are willing to accept that the resistance you feel is not an obstacle, but an invitation. To release, to trust, and to step into something greater. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some come into our lives like seasons, warming us for a time, teaching us lessons, and then fading into the past. But when we refuse to acknowledge their natural end, when we cling to something that is already unraveling, we begin to feel the weight of it deep in our soul. There is a spiritual exhaustion that comes from holding on to someone who is not meant for you. A slow, draining emptiness that pulls you further from yourself and further from God. You can sense it, can't you? That feeling that something is off, that no matter how much love you pour in, nothing seems to grow. You invest your energy, your time, your prayers, but instead of feeling filled, you feel depleted. The conversations don't inspire you anymore. They leave you heavy, confused, or even broken. And yet you stay. Not because you are happy, but because you are afraid. Afraid of what it means to let go. Afraid that if you walk away, you will never find love like this again. But is it love if it leaves you empty? Is it love if it is always taking and never giving? God did not design relationships to drain us. Love is not meant to be a burden you carry, nor is it supposed to make you feel smaller, unseen, or unworthy. But sometimes we become so accustomed to our own suffering that we mistake it for normalcy. We tell ourselves, this is just how love is, as if love is meant to break us rather than build us. And so we stay, convincing ourselves that endurance is a virtue, that if we just hold on a little longer, things will get better. But deep down, you already know the truth. You already know that something is missing, that this connection is pulling you away from who you are meant to be, instead of bringing you closer to God's purpose for you. There is a reason you feel this way. There is a reason your spirit is restless, why your heart feels heavy every time you try to make this relationship work. Because God is speaking to you. He is whispering through your exhaustion, through your unease, through that quiet voice inside you that keeps telling you something isn't right. But the question is, are you listening? Or are you drowning out His voice with your fear? Fear makes us believe that if we walk away, we will be alone. But what if that emptiness you fear is actually a sacred space? A space God is trying to fill with something greater, something that aligns with the person He created you to be. You see, when we hold on to what is not meant for us, we are closing our hands to the blessings God is trying to give us. We are gripping something out of habit, out of fear, out of the illusion that nothing better will come. But faith requires open hands. Faith requires trust, that if something is pulling you away from your own peace, it is not meant for you. And so the real question is, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of letting go? Or are you afraid of trusting that God has something better? Are you afraid of being alone? Or are you afraid of discovering how powerful, how free, how whole you can be without this person? Because the truth is, you were never meant to live a life that drains you. You were never meant to spend your days feeling small, unworthy, or unseen. God does not lead us to people who shrink our spirit. He leads us to people who expand it. So if a relationship is leaving you empty, if your spirit feels tired, if you find yourself questioning your own worth in someone else's presence, that is not love. That is a sign a sign that God is telling you it is time to release, time to trust, time to stop clinging to what was and step into what is waiting for you. There is a difference between challenges in a relationship and cycles of suffering. Every relationship has difficulties, moments of tension, misunderstandings that need to be worked through. But there is a distinct pattern that emerges when something is not meant to last, a cycle of pain that repeats itself over and over again, like a lesson you have yet to learn. You forgive, hoping this time will be different. You make excuses, convincing yourself that they didn't mean it. You let things slide, telling yourself that love is about patience, about endurance, about never giving up. But the same things keep happening. The same betrayals, the same hurtful words, the same disappointments. It becomes a loop, a familiar rhythm of pain, apology, and false hope. And so you stay, not because you are happy, but because you keep waiting for the change that never comes. You tell yourself that maybe next time they will finally understand. Maybe next time they will see your worth. Maybe next time they will stop hurting you, stop taking you for granted, stop treating you as if your heart is something they can play with. But if it hasn't changed by now, what makes you believe it ever will? God does not call you to suffer in the name of love. Love, in its truest form, does not come with conditions that drain your spirit. It does not demand that you endure constant cycles of pain just to prove your devotion. If you find yourself in a relationship where you are constantly questioning whether you are enough, constantly feeling unseen or unheard, constantly picking up the pieces of your own broken heart, then perhaps it is time to ask, is this love, or is this a lesson? Pain is a teacher, but only if you choose to learn from it. The reason these cycles keep repeating is not because you are meant to endure them, but because you have not yet recognized the message. God is not punishing you. He is revealing something to you, showing you the truth that you have been too afraid to face, that no amount of love, patience, or sacrifice will change someone who is unwilling to change themselves, that you cannot heal a person who refuses to see their own wounds, that you deserve more than empty promises and temporary apologies. But leaving is hard, isn't it? Even when you know deep down that you should. Even when every sign is pointing you toward the door, you hesitate because a part of you is still holding on to the hope that one day things will be different, that one day they will wake up and realize what they have before it's too late. But how many more chances will you give? How many more times will you allow yourself to be hurt before you finally say, enough? God wants more for you. He wants you to step out of this cycle, to see yourself the way He sees you, worthy, loved, whole. But you cannot step into the life He has for you if you are too busy holding on to the one that is breaking you. You cannot receive His blessings if your hands are full of the pain you refuse to release. So the question is not whether you love them. The question is whether this love is costing you too much, whether this love is leading you closer to God or pulling you further away, whether this love feels like peace or like a battle you are constantly fighting alone. You are not meant to live in a cycle of heartbreak. You are meant to grow, to heal, to experience a love that does not demand suffering as proof of its existence. And sometimes the only way to break the cycle is to walk away, not because you don't love them, but because you finally love yourself enough to stop waiting for something that may never come. Letting go is terrifying because it requires trust in the unknown. It means stepping away from what is familiar, even if what is familiar is painful. It means releasing the idea that if you just try a little harder, if you just hold on a little longer, things will magically fall into place. But deep down, you already know that nothing is changing. You already know that you are stuck in a place that no longer feeds your soul, a place where love feels more like longing than fulfillment. And yet you hesitate. Not because you believe this is the best thing for you, but because you are afraid of what comes next. Fear tells you that if you let go, you will be left with nothing. that if you release this person, you will regret it, that maybe, just maybe, you should hold on a little longer, just in case things finally shift in your favor. But how long have you been telling yourself this? How many nights have you gone to bed hoping that tomorrow will bring the love and commitment you deserve, only to wake up to the same disappointment? God does not ask you to stay in places that drain you. He does not require you to cling to relationships that bring more sorrow than joy. He does not want you to shrink yourself, to make yourself small, to accept less than what your heart truly desires. The discomfort you feel, the inner restlessness, the way your soul keeps whispering, "This isn't right," that is not doubt, that is divine guidance. That is God nudging you, urging you to let go, to trust Him, to step into a future that is not defined by fear, but by faith. But faith is difficult when you cannot see what's ahead. We like certainty, we crave security, and we convince ourselves that even a painful love is better than no love at all. But that is a lie. Loneliness is not found in solitude. It is found in staying with someone who does not see you, who does not choose you, who does not love you the way love is meant to be. And so the question is, what are you truly holding on to? Are you holding on to love? Or are you holding on to a version of love that is built on fear, on illusion, on the desperate hope that one day they will become the person you need them to be? God never asks you to settle. He never asks you to accept a love that is inconsistent, conditional, or half-hearted. He calls you to something greater, something deeper, something real. But you cannot receive His best if you are still gripping onto what was never meant for you. You cannot move forward if your heart is still tethered to someone who is not willing to walk beside you. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about choosing yourself. It is about recognizing that God's plan is greater than your own, that He sees the entire picture while you only see a small fragment. You may not understand why things are falling apart now, but one day you will. One day you will look back and realize that the loss you feared was actually the breakthrough you needed, that the person you thought you couldn't live without was actually blocking the love, the joy, the peace that was waiting for you. So trust. Trust that God does not remove without reason. Trust that He is leading you towards something far greater than what you are leaving behind. Trust that walking away is not an ending but a beginning. A beginning of a life where love is not something you have to chase, but something that meets you exactly where you are.